We can go live.
Okay. You're live.
Okay, thank you, Jake.
Okay.
Since we're holding the meeting, and I'd like to thank everybody who's joined us, I'd like everyone to understand that we're going to have a roll call. Please say aye and identify where you are coming from. In other words, where you're seated. Yesterday, I was involved in a Zoom meeting. We had somebody all the way from Florida. Most of us were here in East Lansing. So if the clerk will take the roll.
I can do that. So as Jim indicated, if all of you could just indicate by saying aye and then where you're logging in from. So Levandy.
Here. Aye.
Meadows.
Aye, and I'm here in East Lansing in my home.
Cannon.
Here in East Lansing, Ingham County, Michigan. Happy to be here.
Great. Arndt.
I'm here and I'm in East Lansing at the Hannah Community Center.
Perfect. Kiesler.
Good morning, I'm here and I am also in beautiful East Lansing this morning.
Tucker.
I am here and I am in East Lansing in our office.
Excellent. Richie.
Here in East Lansing.
Fehrenbach.
Good morning, I'm here. I'm in East Lansing in Ingham County. Thank you.
Sorry. Strom. Oh, Laura, you're muted.
I'm here from my home in Hazlet.
Great. Boyle.
Here in East Lansing, Michigan.
Wheel. Or Weil, I apologize, Pam, if it's the other way.
That's all right. I'm here in East Lansing, Michigan, and Ingham County, we were told that last night's meeting needs to be added.
Perfect. Ingham County. Shelley.
I'm here, East Lansing, Michigan, Ingham County.
Perfect. And Kumanich.
Here, East Lansing, Ingham County.
Perfect. Mr. Chair, you do have quorum. I am going to also ask, I know that we have a couple of additional people. So I was going to call on them and just have them share who they're with. We have a couple of guests and then we have a couple of additional staff that are with us, if that's okay. So I'm going to start. So obviously I am Amy Schleschler-Schmidt. I am joining you from East Lansing, Michigan. And I'm going to start with Quinn Alexander.
Hi, everyone. I'm Quinn, and I work in the city's communications department, and I'm here kind of just to watch Amy and how she conducts the meetings, because moving forward, I'm going to start helping her build your guys' agendas and run the meetings here. So I'm happy to be here.
Quinn is awesome, and we are happy to have her.
Thank you, Quinn.
I also saw that I think Terry is on.
Yes, I sure am. I'm in the primetime office. Yep.
Great. And Erica, am I saying that right? I want to make sure I'm saying it right. Is joining us?
Yes. Yeah. Good morning. I'm here. I'm here in East Lansing as well, and I am with Primetime as well as I'll be doing a presentation on the Senior Ambassador Program.
Great. And Haley?
Hi, here also from East Lansing, and I am with Erica with Primetime Age Alive and the university presenting on the Senior Ambassador Program.
Wonderful. I don't think I missed anybody, but this is your time to tell me if I missed anybody.
Oh, did we cover Betty?
Hello.
Thank you. Betty is here too. That's right. How could I forget Betty Nocera?
Hello. Yes, Betty Nocera. I'm actually calling from Grand Rapids, Michigan, where I am house sitting for my sister who had the audacity to go to Florida for 6 weeks. At this particular time, and I'm looking after the house. So I am the community ambassador with Newman Lofts to today offer updates on enhancements, changes, and hopes.
Great.
Okay.
Okay.
I guess we've got everybody.
Yes, you have quorum. Mr. Chair.
Well, I guess the minutes, Kathy sent them out. There was one correction about the spelling. I'd like to get a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved. Pat Cannon.
I'll second, Lori.
Okay, thank you. Any discussion about the minutes?
Had a question. Do we need to say East Lansing Hannah Community Center if it's a virtual meeting, since we aren't actually there? Just,
Some of us are.
just a procedure question. I was just wondering about that, because we say virtually via Zoom.
Well, we were instructed to identify ourselves, our geographic location, and include the county.
No, I'm saying on the minutes.
Oh, on the minutes.
Yes, on the minutes it says East Lansing Hannah Community Center, 819 Abbott Road, but the meeting isn't actually taking place there.
Well, I did say it's via Zoom.
Yeah, right above that.
And I thought I needed a location for the entity, you know, for the committee. So I left the Hannah Community Center on there. I mean, I can certainly take it off, but.
No, I was just wondering if we needed it. It's no big deal.
I would think that a mailing address associated with, you know what I'm saying? I think like Kathleen said that, yeah, there should to have a mailing address or something associated with it, as long as it also notes that it's a remote meeting. And as Jim said, he's there, or somebody's there. Yeah.
If there are no other questions, I'm going to call the question. All in favor, please say aye, or do we have to do it by roll?
Aye.
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 Yeah, I think at the last meeting, there was a consensus that, Jim, if you wanted to, it was okay if you wanted to just have a majority vote. That was my understanding of the last consensus. But I'm happy to do a roll call vote.
No, as long as we've got, are there any objections? Hearing none, I declare the meeting minutes approved. And slight adjustment here, we have the Senior Ambassadors Program, and they're going to be making a presentation. So I'm going to turn it over to them, and then we can go on with the rest of the agenda. Betty will be up after that.
Point of order, Chair.
Yes.
I believe you have the public comment period first.
Oh, true. Are there anyone online who wishes to make a public comment?
I do see one caller, Jim.
Okay.
So I would be happy to
Have the caller identify themselves.
Okay. So caller, you are ending in the last three digits of 963. Again, your last three digits are 963, and I'm going to unmute you, and you have an opportunity to speak to the Age Friendly Communities Commission now.
Hi, this is Alice Drager. I'm just here to report for East Lansing Info, but I just did have one request of staff, and that's that at the city's website for the Age Friendly Community Committee, it would be helpful if you could list the members of the community because they're not listed on the website. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other callers, Amy?
No, Mr. Chair, those are the only callers I have on the line.
Okay. If there are no other public comments, we'll move on to the Senior Ambassadors Program presentation. I think Lori and the students are all set to go. I understand we've got a PowerPoint presentation to go along with it.
Yes, I'd like to introduce Haley Nash and Erica Benson, who are the students who are the leaders actually of the Senior Ambassador Program. They are social science scholars from the university. So this is their show.
And Haley and Erica, I'm happy to scroll through if you just want to say next slide, or I can give you administrative rights and you can.
I'm fine with just letting you know for next slide.
Okay, you can just say next slide. Great. All right.
I agree. Okay, I'll start. So hi, my name is Erica Benson. I am a senior at Michigan State University, and this past summer I got involved with the Senior Ambassador Program, which we launched as a pilot program as a public health initiative to improve intergenerational relationships and also reduce loneliness in the East Lansing and Greater Lansing community. It's grown past the East Lansing community now as we have invited more people from the Lansing area to join our program. So I'm really happy to provide this progress report of what's been done this past year.
I'll just do a quick introduction as well. Hello, my name is Haley Nash. I'm a current graduate student at Michigan State University. Did my undergrad at Michigan State as well within the same program as Erica, and also got started in the program at its conception and have been working with her on training and recruitment and doing these kind of presentations and sharing our program with the community.
So yeah, to provide an overview of what we'll be presenting in this program, in this presentation, we'll provide an overview of summarizing the goals of our program, how it aligns with the age-friendly community goals, and then we'll be talking about the different program roles, as well as current progress by the numbers, and then we'll be talking about future steps, and which includes check-in meetings and continued succession of our program.
So to give you guys a brief overview, the Senior Ambassador Program is a pilot health program for seniors living in the Greater Lansing area. The primary goal of our program is to foster positive social interaction between undergraduate students at the university and seniors living in the Greater Lansing area.
Now, the Senior Ambassador Program was designed so that we have, so that it addresses some of the age-friendly community goals that we have. So SAP actually addresses 4 out of the 8 AFC domain goals. The first being civic participation and employment to reduce loneliness in community events. Events will be planned that will bring people together. And so we have a series of one-on-one partnership type pairs where people will meet via Zoom, but we also have group events where we have group discussions on several different types of intellectual topics, which we'll talk about later. Number 3, communication and information. So we have been able to develop and promote the Senior Ambassador Program where volunteers can provide resource information. So the basis of our program is revolved around intergenerational communication and also connectedness among seniors in the Greater Lansing area. Number 4, community services and healthcare. The whole goal of our program is to educate the community on loneliness and to also reduce loneliness through positive virtual interactions and to also provide a community service. All of the students who are Michigan State University students in the Social Science Scholars Program are volunteering to meet on a virtual basis and oftentimes on a weekly basis with seniors and provide a community service. And then lastly, social inclusion, respect, and social participation. So the whole part of our program is revolved around connecting with mostly isolated senior citizens and involving advocacy groups to participate in community events and outreach.
So the entirety of this program is founded on a lot of the data that we're about to show you, and really wanting to address aging and the graying of America and social isolation. And this program was conceptualized before COVID, but since COVID has happened, it's become more and more important as people have been stuck in their homes and need some sort of social interaction. So some brief data. We're going through the graying of America. By 2030, the census projects that Americans age 65 and older will make up 25% of our country's population. So what does this mean for us? We have a growing need for senior-focused healthcare workers, expansion of the senior workforce, and a growing need for senior-focused health initiatives in the public and public policy aimed towards seniors. Next slide.
This slide continues to talk about the future demographic changes of our country. Mainly also, I want to draw attention to that pie chart right there showing that, the vast majority of this future demographic changes are going to be where seniors are not living in senior care facilities. A lot of them will be living in their own homes independently. And so that's contributing to the average life expectancy, which is growing. It's going to grow from, for the average life expectancy at age 65 will be expected to grow. Next slide, please.
I think we have to go back one more. Yep, that one, perfect. So this is what our program is aimed at a lot as well. So social isolation among seniors is a major public health issue. There's a lot of health risks associated with social isolation. Adults aged 50 and older who are socially isolated have higher risk of conditions like dementia, heart disease, stroke, and depression. And recent studies show that patients with heart failure report feeling lonely are 4 times more likely at risk at death. And 1 in 3 adults age 45 and older report feeling lonely.
So, and then to add to what Haley just said, loneliness is not just an issue that seniors face. Research has shown that people, adolescents or people who are in college face tremendous amounts of loneliness just in different ways. And so the whole goal of our program is to bring 2 groups of people who are statistically likely to feel lonely and bring them together in a virtual format, especially during the pandemic. And so the 2 components of SAP involve 1, the weekly one-on-one Zoom sessions. So each week, a senior and a student at MSU, the same pair, meet together pretty much on a weekly basis. And we ask them to meet at least for an hour to chat. And we also give it up to them to choose how they want to spend their time. And we'll go more into some examples of what kinds of interactions they've been having. People have been getting kind of creative, and it's been really great to hear the positive interactions that they've been having. And then secondly, we have group Zoom sessions. So recently we've had this really popular lecture series called Town and Gown, where faculty from Michigan State University are invited to talk about their field of expertise. We've had anything from history, anthropology. We've had some, I believe we have either an FBI or CIA agent coming to talk about their career. We've had a lot of very interesting guest lecturers come, and seniors are invited, and they, excuse me, they ask questions about the community. I mean, they ask questions about the expertise of the faculty.
So we just wanted to list a few benefits of involvement, and this goes for both the senior and the ambassador that are involved in our program. There's a gain of social awareness of social issues on like social isolation, building positive social bonds within the community, and gaining social skills like community engagement, and gaining applicable social and professional skills that are needed for different careers across different fields. So one of our big goals for this program is we didn't want the students feeling like they're only in it to benefit a senior who may be isolated, because like Erica said earlier, college students are going through this isolation a lot, especially with COVID. We have a lot of freshmen and sophomores who are involved in the program who couldn't live at school this year because the dorms were closed. So they're at home with their families, they have nothing to do, and a lot of them look forward to these meetings every week. And they also gain a lot of interesting insight and wisdom from the senior that they're paired with, which we were really, really hoping would happen.
So this slide talks about the community partnerships and roles that are are involved in our program. So we have Age Alive. Age Alive is a part of the Michigan State University College of Osteopathic Medicine, and the goal of the primary function of Age Alive in this is that they direct and facilitate program organization, outreach, and evaluations. And it's led by Dr. Claire Lutz, Lori Strom, and Shannon Harkins Paget. Excuse me, and then, and then next it's Prime Time, and they're involved with community outreach and support for seniors. The vast majority of the seniors that have been coming into our program that we've been inviting and onboarding a lot of them are involved with Prime Time. And so we have Kelly Arndt, Lisa Ritchie, and Cheryl Pell, who have been part of that. And then as for senior representatives, we've invited 2 seniors from the community to help us better improve the program and get their perspective on what kind of needs do seniors need for a virtual program like this. So we're so lucky to have Marcia Van Ness and Leo Kennedy to meet with us on a bi-weekly basis and just tell us what they think about the program. And next we have the Social Science Scholars Program. Oh, I'm sorry, this is a little long slide, but the Social Science Scholars Program conducts evaluation research. They recruit and train the volunteers, which is what Haley and I do. And then we also develop community events. And then you can see the list of students who are working at the various roles in the Social Science Scholars Program. Oh, next slide, please.
So here's some current progress and updates about our program by the numbers. In September, we received the AARP Challenge Grant for $28,300, which we've allocated for resources for our program and creating some virtual interaction for seniors in the community. We've had 72 one-on-one meetings since October 2nd. There are currently 12 pairs and counting, with 1 in the process of onboarding and training. There are 20 seniors on our waiting list. The average hour of duration of meetings is 1 hour. We have 2 international callers who are both students, 1 from India and 1 from Turkey. All respondents have either rated their visits as excellent or good. And for the Town and Gown series, we've currently had 14 guest speakers with a participation of 420 by the end of May of 2021.
Yes. And then I also like to add for this slide, some examples of some things that the students have done is one of the students and seniors decided they wanted to be pen pals. So in addition to meeting virtually on Zoom, they also write each other letters. And yeah, I thought that was really a cool idea. So yeah. So in reference to the Town and Gown series, the Town and Gown series has been printed in the East Lansing, the Primetime newsletter. And so we basically provide announcements, thanks to Cheryl Pell, to basically write about a brief biography of the professor who will be speaking, the times, and how to sign up and register for the event.
So to conclude, we just wanted to give you guys a kind of a future look into our program and what we're trying to do in the next few months. So of course, we're going to continue to recruit potential hosts and ambassadors for our program so we can continue to grow. We've started the process of succession planning to recruit leadership for student team members like Erica and myself, who will have to stop working with the program at the start of the summer. We've already gone through 1 round of check-in meetings, but we are going to start initiating a 2nd round between hosts and ambassadors. It was really important for us that we receive continual feedback, as this is a pilot program. So we want to be hearing from everyone to figure out how we can best improve our program and serve the community. We are installing evaluation measures like short surveys for seniors and students. We've initiated, again, 1 round and we'll be doing some more in the future. And then we are doing research on the program evaluation that will be published in a journal that the MSU Social Science Scholars put on. And I think some of the research will be shared in our Town and Gown series as well. Next slide. Yeah.
So I guess we'll just like to end and say thank you for your time and attention, and I'm more than happy to answer any questions that people have.
If you have a question, please identify yourself so that we know. I know that little yellow frame comes up, but we'd like to know who's asking the question. So we're open for questions. Nell?
Thank you very much. This was wonderful. Pardon me, morning voice. I appreciate the struggle you all have had to get your voices going. This was lovely and it sounds really wonderful. Thank you both and all of you. I had the good fortune of being a mentor for a social science scholar a few years ago, and it was a fabulous experience. You all get a marvelous experience there. Having said that, I was intrigued to hear there are 20 individuals on your waiting list, are those 20 seniors waiting to be matched? And you're obviously doing this all remotely, trying to recruit young people who are willing to engage with them? And can you tell us how you've identified those seniors as well? Thank you.
Yes. So as far as the seniors go, Primetime handles that part of it. And then, yes, so the number that you saw is 20 on the senior waiting list. And we have only been recruiting students from the senior or the social science scholars program, excuse me, to start with, because with the pilot program, we wanted to select from a pool of students that we knew would meet the requirements for the program and would be reliable without having to go through like a full interview and vetting process. So that's part of the reason our list is so long right now, because we are limiting our pool. We are looking into working with other groups on campus, like the Lions Club, the student organization that's associated with the Lions Club, and potentially other colleges at the university, so we can have a bigger pool of student volunteers to kind of shorten that list of seniors.
And to add to that, Nell, what we did was we put out a survey in the very beginning. We initially got a $5,000 grant to hire Erica to help with the program, and that was the very beginning. We put a survey out to our members, and the respondents came back, and what we did was we evaluated the level of need within, within this, who responded. And then we contacted the individuals and really found out some specifics about their technology capabilities and, did they have a computer and other things that needed to be answered in order to make the match. And we also tried to match like interests and like hobbies, or people that a intergenerational pair that could really identify with each other, with something. And so we really tried to make the matches ones that they would look forward to meeting every week. And we've heard that they have done that and enjoyed that. So it's just a pilot. And I think, as we gain insights from these wonderful students, I mean, this is the caliber of students that MSU produces, and the nation's in great shape, but it's been just enlightening for us as staff to work with these students. And we've developed, by learning from them. So it's been a wonderful partnership, and we just adore Erica and Haley and all the other students who have been a part of this. It wouldn't have happened if they weren't in part of it.
This is Lori. I agree with everything Kelly said. We're so fortunate to have them, and I am very honored to have worked with them. And one other piece is that when we started first planning this initiative, they were intended to meet face-to-face pre-COVID.
Yeah.
So when we first launched, it was meant to be in person, and then we had to readjust and be flexible and make it the virtual visits. So I don't know if at any time we might be able to get back to that one-on-one in-person kind of visit would be wonderful. Also, I think it's important to note that as Kelly said, they do match their interests. So they have quite a vigorous vetting process to make sure that people are on board and well matched. And there are criminal background checks run on both the students and the seniors. When we first started working with the Center for Civil Engagement on campus, they wanted us to have a third person to intervene with each of the interactions. And we thought, no, we've got our bases covered. We're doing background checks. We're well vetting them. So it's worked out really well. And I love the international component that we have these students from countries around the world sharing their culture with the seniors. It's really heartwarming. So thank you for doing this for us today, Erica and Haley.
Yes.
No problem.
May I ask a question?
Certainly, go ahead.
how does one get to become a host? As the community ambassador at Newman Lofts, we have a group of residents who are part of a volunteer club, and we have international residents. We have residents with great experiences that I think would love to be a part of this program. And of course, located right in downtown, once we get to return to the one-on-one, we've got a great community room. We've got that amenities deck overlooking the university. Just a great site for being able to be mentors. So is there a process that we need to do to inquire how we can apply to become connected?
You know what you could do? Go ahead, did somebody? Betty, why don't you just provide me with names and contact information, and then we'll go from there.
Okay, of each of the individuals who may be interested?
Yes.
Okay, will do. Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I have a comment, Chair.
Okay, Tom.
I want to join the others in commending you for this extraordinary effort. I want to note how many of our goals it really aligns with. This is a great first step. It's really good to see that you're focused on succession planning, because I really see the potential for this to grow and expand into some of the other areas. It's a wonderful place to start. So thank you for your efforts on this, and we look forward to thinking of all the ways we can help move this forward and help build on your work.
Thank you so much.
I'd like to extend my thanks for the whole group. You're doing a wonderful job, and let's just keep hoping that for people in my age group, there's more of these opportunities. I'm almost at the top of that graph you put in there. I'm only one step away. If that's the case, thank you again, and we will move on. And according to the agenda, it's the follow-up on the communications with Betty.
Thank you for letting me be a part of your committee meeting this morning. Just to do a brief recap, Newman Lofts is a 55+ active adult community. Paula Cunningham came to visit us last week and have a tour, and we basically fulfilled that gap according to the AARP that's called the missing middle or the mobile middle. Those 55+ adults who no longer want to be in a ownership home environment, but are really too active and understandably feel too young to be in the continuum of care programs that exist. So we fill that gap. Basically, we are, best way to describe it, market rate apartments for people who are 55 and older who want to live like they're 45. I'm 68. I want to be living downtown like I'm 45 for a while before I have to do anything else. But my real purpose here today is to bring you forward from the fall of 2020 on what has transpired since then. I believe that it is now in the final stages with the attorneys with the city to do an actual amendment to assure the community of East Lansing that we are fully committed to the 55+. We do have those 3 apartments that are currently rented who are under 55 that are all Michigan State University professors or department chairs. And I think part of that amendment is to look after them while assuring we really are only hiring for 55, which is kind of what I'm here as a community ambassador to assure, because that's been my involvement since 2015 when I first saw the blueprints that was the intent. Also continuing on, we are also, I know there were some concerns about the cost at Newman Lofts. We are also right now involved in a market survey to evaluate what is the reality within Ingham and Eaton and Clinton counties to best use as a comparison. So hope to have more information specifically on that to make sure we're really properly aligned with what actually exists in terms of leasing of apartments, whether they're market rate, whether they're 55 plus. So that is quite an extensive study we've undertaken to get all of those handled. Very pleased to say the most recent groups of applicants that we have had have actually been new applicants into East Lansing. 3 of the 4 most recent ones, 3 have come from other states, and 1 new applicant has come from the Detroit area. So we're very pleased to be bringing new citizens into East Lansing. With COVID, we realize, we can't be moving right now because we got to get our vaccinations done. And you can't lose your place in line by moving to a different county or state. So what we have done is open it up so that if someone is interested in moving into downtown East Lansing, we are pretty much giving them a 6-month window in order to do so. So the applicants we are getting are actually moving in the summer and fall after they have fulfilled all of their second vaccinations and feel comfortable with now finally being able to make that transition. So we're very excited about that. Still trying to encourage those who do not want to age in place, but maybe want a new adventure to move into Newman Lofts. So those houses end up being on the market. So Generation X and Generation Y maybe have access to some new opportunities for purchasing homes. So that's kind of a brief recap. Do you have questions specifically that you would like to ask me about Newman Lofts?
Please identify yourself if you've got a question.
Oh, I'm sorry. My name is Betty Nocera. I am the community ambassador for Newman Lofts, 200 Albert Street, East Lansing.
Questions?
Is there anything that you would like to recommend in terms of us reaching out to new people?
Nell, you have your hand up.
I did. Betty, I would just like to express my appreciation for your being here today and for the work that I understand you are doing on behalf of Newman Lofts.
Thank you.
You are welcome. I will suggest that I was a little perturbed, miffed, taken aback by the letter that we received from you following our comments to City Council about Newman Lofts and their commitment to the 55 and older. And I'm pleased that you're here. I am pleased that they are reassessing their commitment. This is not any of it directed at you as an individual. We all, not all, but many of us have during our lives had the responsibility for being the spokesperson for organizations that we don't control, but that we work for and that we share things with. You mentioned an agreement that is being worked on with the attorneys, but I will say this, it is wonderful to have a commitment to 55 and older living situations. It is unnerving to have organizations who then tell us we can't meet our obligations, and who have done that, as I understand it, more than once during this process. And so I appreciate and applaud the work you're doing, because I think you probably have been advocating and gotten them back to a position where it sounds like they're working with the attorneys. That's always still a little disconcerting to someone like me, who, I don't, it's hard to trust organizations whose intent and whose purpose is ultimately to make money, to have the continuing interests in mind that they seem to do in order to get their foot in the door. I am trusting what you're saying. I'm hoping that what you're saying is going to be good, and that it's going to be positive, and that it's going to grow their commitment and the work here. I will note, and you may have heard this before, but I'm one of those persons in a targeted age group. I have gotten a lot of mailings direct from what's going on at Bircham and the work they are doing. And they are very targeted in their marketing. They know who they're hitting, and they're very persistent. And I will say that while I have no intent of moving in the near future, I just don't recall that kind of marketing. And when people say they have a commitment, when they say they're working toward meeting that commitment and they're just not able to do it, one has to wonder really what they've done and what they plan on doing. And so this is not in any way directed at you, Betty. You have a wonderful reputation. You just did a very lovely presentation, and I can see why they've kept you or however they've reached out to you as a consultant, because you're a very valuable asset to them. But I also want to just caution, I'm speaking for myself, not for the age-friendly committee, but as a member who's paying attention to these issues, I think it's really important that you continue to be as strong as possible, because I think there's always an interest on the part of profit-making organizations to make as much money as they can, as quickly as they can. And that oftentimes, if not clouds their judgment, drives their judgment. And I hope that what happens continues to be positive for the city, and in turn, that they're able to meet their own, I don't know if I want them to necessarily meet their own goals, but I hope that they continue to be successful. So thank you.
Well, you're welcome. And now you brought up a very good point that I forgot to inform people of. You're absolutely right about the marketing. I do not know how many of you have been receiving them. We did a postcard mailing in January. One just went out this week. There's another one scheduled for March, basically trying to inform the community, the greater metropolitan Lansing area, statewide, nationally, of what we are. We have a trifold brochure that we are beginning to pass out to anyone who would like it. And any of you, just let me know and I'll get some to you. We have advertised in the primetime newsletter. We are working with AARP directly on things that we can do, reaching out to our alumni clubs. So you're absolutely right now. There should have been more marketing of awareness building long before this, but we are in the process of getting that all out now. So, and in wondering how I came on as this, I'm going to be very honest about this. When I caught wind of the motion to change the 55 directive back in September, I called the developers and I basically said, what the heck you doing? Because it always had been 55. I think there was a knee-jerk response. I should probably not be quoted on that because that's more my personal thing, about the fact that it was difficult for this demographic to make transitional moves during COVID. But you are absolutely right now. I'm here because I have always believed that this is a true asset for East Lansing to get as many 55 and older living in downtown as we can. And that is my complete, sincere, and hopeful that that is going to happen just as the citizens voted for that back, I believe in 2015, and moving forward decades. There's a lot of people who are drawn to East Lansing because of the walkability, the access to the arts and sports of a major university, and simply the Midtown energy. And we're really trying to capitalize on that to bring people here. So I understand completely your concerns now. And I'll be honest, originally, those were some of my concerns. What's going on? This is not how this was all envisioned, but it is now. And I guess for all of you, all I can do is give you the assurance that that's what we're doing, and hope over time it will prove itself out to you. But that's why I'm community ambassador. You've got it.
Any other questions? Any other questions?
Well,
Somebody's coming through.
Oh.
I can't, somebody is speaking, but I can't identify who it was. No other questions? Well, Betty, thank you.
You're very welcome. And
I really appreciate you taking the time to be with us this morning.
Well, you are so welcome. And I'd like to do a particular shout out to Kelly and all the primetime people. I have enjoyed working with all of them for years. We actually began, Kathy Boyle, Alice Martin, Ray Vlassen, and I, back in 2013, actually were part of a small group of people from then the ELCC beginning to research housing specifically for all of us in East Lansing. And it kind of morphed from that into what is now Newman Lofts. So that wasn't the specific thing that it began with. We were looking at alumni housing through the university. And I'm just really pleased that this is a development that can really be viable, positive, influential, and great for East Lansing, and hope that other developments come up from other developers to offer other kinds of housing for all of us. So thank you for allowing me to be here. And if you need to reach out to me, I guess I need to get all my contact information to somebody. Is there a recommendation how I should do that?
Kelly? Oh, Kathy? Kathy Boyle?
Yeah, I would suggest if Betty can get the information to Kelly, then it could be emailed to us.
Okay, I will do so. Thank you, Kathy. Thank you.
Thank you,
Betty.
Thank you, Betty.
I guess it's time to move on. I don't have any comments other than mark your calendars. Our next meeting is on April 15th. So you have to get your taxes in and meet with AFC on the same day. Any comments from the committee? Well, then we're going to move on to old business, adjustment of timelines and goal priorities. I know a number of you have expressed some concerns about how we've set up some of our timelines. And with COVID, it certainly has thrown a hand grenade into the process of reaching our goals, although I'm very glad the Senior Ambassador Program it happened. We got a chat here. Thank you from Haley.
I'm sorry, Chair, I did have one comment.
Tom?
If you would indulge me. We received word, I think late yesterday, that there's another grant opportunity from AARP. So I think we should share that around to the committee and probably add that to our discussion in April.
Okay. Do you know about the deadline? that they posted for the grant?
I don't. I've only had a chance to skim it. I don't know if anyone
Well,
else has
Well,
received
I
it.
look forward, along with the rest of the committee, of getting that information.
If I can jump in, the community challenge grant just opened, I believe it was yesterday, and the deadline is April 14th. So that will align well with both getting our taxes done and our next meeting. So if you'd like, I could send along a link to I could just reply to the last email from the group and send out a link for the application process.
That would be great. Thanks, Jeff.
All right. I might know a little bit about that.
Sam?
Talking to me, Jim?
I'm talking to Sam Tucker.
Oh, Sam.
Yeah,
He was just in the chat.
I just think Erica, that's all for put your response.
Okay. Well, timeline. Who'd like to step in first? I know I had some requests. Nell?
Jim, sorry, I have a little trouble with all these different screens and trying to make them work.
Yes.
And
I'm doing the same.
I wanted to go back and review my original comments, and I don't know if anybody else has had an opportunity to pull them up, but I did think I had them here, and now I'm not finding them at the moment. Let me see if I can pull it back up in front of me, because I'm the one, I think, who was commenting that I wondered if our timeline, I really appreciated the way you guys put that chart together. I thought that was wonderful. What I thought I had in front of me now doesn't seem to be in front of me. So of course, this is how life goes, doesn't it? When you're trying to do things virtually and you're very, very ill-equipped for that. But let me get back to where I think I want to be. And I apologize for this. If there's anybody else who wants to comment, they can go ahead and I can come back to you, or I'll keep looking. And when I think I'm sort of back there. When I got to the point, do you remember the date on that, Jim? Because that would help me find what I'm looking for. But no, never mind. Never mind then. I had it at one time, and I should be able to find it again relatively easily. Because let me see. Okay, I think it was on the 18th of October or 15th of October that this whole thing got going. You had sent us once again, I think, the work that you had put together on our behalf in a format that I think Pam Weil had helped you create.
Yes.
And I tried to review those timelines in reference to particularly the domain on which I worked, which was civic participation and work domain 2. And I'm looking at my memo now, which is from way back on October 17. But I said that I came to the conclusion that all of these activities would best wait for a time when we can return to whatever a new sense of normalcy is. And I don't feel any differently today. I don't think it's fair to put a 1-year timeline on activities that cannot reasonably begin today or at that time. This was back in October, when I think I think the timelines for domain 2 are reasonable. I think the beginning of the timeline might be delayed until normalcy is back with us. And I'm not sure what that means. There may be other domains where work is either proceeding. For instance, a housing study is underway, according to what we had heard at our meeting. But whether or not that study will provide the information anticipated in goals 1.2 and 1.5 is simply beyond my knowledge. However, it seems those goals could be incorporated and may already have been in the ongoing study. Further, following the conversation about Newman Lofts at the time and the federal ADA, I know we've had some information. Thank you, Tom Fehrenbach, for getting the folks to do that. To share with us, it did seem that it might be good to assure that someone can accept the responsibility for following up and ensuring that our goals 4.1, 4.2, and 4.3 are being pursued at this time in regard to accessibility and universal design, and how those issues work together or don't work together, and what we really need versus what is necessarily required. And then it also seemed to me that work could and can, I should say, and should continue on domain 5 on outdoor spaces and buildings. In particular, I said goals 1.1, which were to increase park benches, and 1.4, a feasibility study about the age-friendly aspects of businesses in the DDA. But I do recognize staff is better equipped than I am to say how soon those things might be accomplished. That was what I had to offer on the timeline. I'm not sure if others have been able to really look at those and evaluate them. I'm not sure if that's helpful to staff, or if I'm just, presuming knowledge that I don't have. But I do think that it's easy to lose track of our goals in this time of pandemic. I am not only grateful, but extremely pleased at the work that Kelly and Erica and I think it was Haley and
Lisa Ritchie too. She's been a driving force with this as well.
And Lisa and Lori have been doing with this program on isolation. I am just tickled to hear that's happening because of so many different things we hear online, including that that the pandemic and the isolation of the pandemic is in some instances contributing to the rise of extremism in our domestic discussions in our country, and I'm sure in our communities. So I'm just thrilled to pieces that that's been able to move forward. But I think it's really important, and I'm not doing a great job of this, believe me, that we each try to take time to focus on the timelines that we were working on, unless we are going to get in the way of staff, and that we take a real realistic view of that, so that we are both reminded of what we feel we have asked for and recommended, and that we don't let it just fall by the wayside, but that we're also realistic about when and how those things might be able to be undertaken and accomplished. So that's really what I had. I'm sorry that at a previous meeting, I wasn't prepared to pull that up again and discuss those ideas. And I know they're a little bit behind us now, but that timeline is in Jim's October 15, 2020 email to all of us. And it's, I think it's valuable if you can take the time. And I know there are many of you who are still working professionally, so that's different for you than it is for folks like me too, but take the time to just review those and think about what we're doing. And I thank you. That's what I had to offer.
Any other comments? Staff, you got anything you'd like to say? Hearing none. I know that we've got to review those, and as Nell said, many of you are still working. You're not retired like I am and participating too much on Zoom with too many groups. If you want to pull that back up, or I can send you another copy of it so that you can review some of those. Those were my impressions of where we were at before COVID hit. But feel free to scratch it up, especially if you've got Excel, because it is in an Excel format, and you can add your own color to the bars. I think I used green, if I remember correctly. And you can put your, I guess the old teacher in me is getting here. You've got a homework assignment, I guess, is the best way to put it. That you review. There are some things that I know will be ongoing, but there are others that probably will end up with a termination date at some point, so that we can say we've accomplished something. I know that there was the old TV commercial that always reminded me. They had this old gentleman polishing a brass door, and he always said they had to come take it away from me because it was never polished enough. So let's hope that we don't have to keep polishing and not eventually hang the door.
Jim, this is Lori. I have a comment. And I know there's a lot of work that the city would have to take on to accomplish a lot of our goals. And I'm sensitive to their work overwhelm right now as well. But something like this AARP Challenge grant, because that's a very quick turnaround. That's the grant we just had. That you only have a few months to accomplish your project. And our deadline was December 31st. And I'm anticipating that if we were to receive a grant, it would come in the fall. Something that can be easily doable would be park benches or some of the signage issues we talked about with bicycles. And that's the kind of grant application that AARP would like to see. That's a one-shot deal as well, and we could accomplish some goals if we were to be able to get that grant. But I don't think the grant would cover the entire cost. So then again, it puts it back on the city. And so there's a lot of uncertainty for us with that, because I don't feel it's my place to say, hey, city, fund another $300,000 for park benches or bicycle signage. So that concerns me, because I don't know what we can do to move it forward. But there are things like educational seminars. I know, Kristen, at the library, you had talked about having some experts at the library, and Primetime also does that with their educational sessions. So there are some smaller pieces that might be realistically accomplished.
Can I say something from the park bench point of view? So we definitely, from a Parks Commission point of view, we definitely can't spend any money, but we love park benches, right? So normally, we just did our budget review last night, and normally, if I hadn't just heard that we're $500,000 down projected for 2021, I would have said, yes, we should be able to partner with that grant and the Parks Department to do something bench-wise. And going forward, let's definitely, partner with that. We'll bring it to the Parks Board, bring it to the park staff. But the city is in kind of a financial pickle. I'm thinking, because we don't know when the vaccine's going to normalize, what kind of boom of activity we might see when people can re-up. So the finances are confusing right now. And they look short. They look strapped, so.
Pam, would you like to put it into a motion so that we can form up a committee to work with Parks and Rec to get the benches?
We can't do any benches now.
No.
You mean like,
even if we
can we start it? I do one with a start date of 6 months from now. I mean, we're in kind of a conundrum, I feel, because we've been so successful leveraging grant money. We've got a lot of development and improvements, capital improvements happening. Patriarch Park, going to do a lot of nice pickleball courts, doing a lot of nice stuff. At the same time, we've got a budget deficit. And so, I don't know where I normally would have thought there might be funds to match and that sort of thing. That money isn't there now. So that's all I'm saying. So yeah, I mean, we can talk about it, but I'm saying it's not like I totally hear what you're saying. Let's get our little short wins. This is a short grant cycle. Maybe we could look for donors for the other half, some kind of campaign for that. I guess I'd be willing to work on that.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for is
Extra-governmental.
suggestions from the group here of something that we could go after even with that April deadline.
Well, Jim,
Yes, Kathy.
Kathy here. The city just did invite some crowdfunding related to a grant. And I'm not really clear on the project, but I think it was another community improvement type project.
It was the downtown spaces where they were going to make outdoor spaces for people to gather.
Ah, yes, thank you, Pam. So if it were a modest amount, maybe crowdfunding could be another source to go with grant money. So I don't know as we have to completely rule out going after a grant that's going to take matching funds.
Yeah, it depends on the grant parameters and the requirements of matching funds. So, but I'm just saying where the Parks Commission was told we were at last night. So,
Jeff?
Yeah, so the Community Challenge Grant doesn't necessarily require people to have any matching funds, but in your application we'll ask, do you have community partners? Do you have matching funds? And that can work two different ways. If we see somebody who has a ton of money in their community matching, then we might ask the question, okay, well, what do you need money from us for if you're doing that well? And then the other way it can work is if there are no matching funds from the community, we might ask or think or wonder, is this project going to be seen all the way out and viable? So yeah.
He's frozen.
It's frozen.
Okay. But it might be me.
If you can hear us, Jeff, you're spooling on your computer. I guess the rest of us are still live.
For the time being.
Just Kelly.
And Jim, if I might, I'm happy to send in the comments, and I'm happy to send another email out with a direct link to the PLACE project that was just funded. That involved a lot of different stakeholders and a lot of staff time to kind of make that happen, but we're really proud of it. If you're not, are people sort of familiar with it? I'm just kind of looking for like head nods, but okay. So a lot of the component of the project is both, it's kind of twofold. So one is about public infrastructure, right? And kind of encouraging people to social distance. And another big component is about obviously activities and events that, again, kind of abide by this social distancing and encourage people to go into the downtown. So I will tell you that, obviously if you have not gone, like we had the market that just, the very first market kicked off on Sunday. And I think that most of us would say that that was a pretty good success. There were 16 vendors at that. Obviously, we do head counts and make sure that there's an appropriate amount of people. It's at the bottom of the MAC garage. There's things, I don't know if you've driven downtown or walked downtown recently, but there are some new Adirondack chairs and some fun placemaking things. There's also going to be some parklets that we're going to launch downtown, some new fun lighting. So, in addition to that, there's also programming. So I don't know if any of you are on TikTok. I personally was not before this, but I am now part of like a TikTok group. So we've been doing like, dance competitions. We're going to be doing things like Where's Zeke? But I think that there's really going to be some age appropriate things for people of all ages. So I say that with the caveat of, we're still going to try to work on some funding that's going to, hopefully about, $5,000 or so that we can attach to some new programming and some new funding. So I think that, I just wanted to kind of point that out to everybody that hopefully that program will certainly continue to be thought of as, beneficial to people of all ages. Again, I'm happy to kind of answer any questions everybody has.
Okay,
the sort of 4 phase of the project is it's a $180,000 project, just so everybody's aware.
I see Jeff is back with us. Jeff, you froze and in the middle of making a comment, so I'm going to turn it back to you if you got any.
All right, I apologize. But yeah, the short answer is that we don't necessarily require matching funds for the Community Challenge Grant. So that's kind of the short answer.
I'm looking at it. So.
Good. I'm asking, is there anyone who'd like to work on that challenge grant? Well,
I can take a look at it, but I don't know what, I can't make any commitment for.
well, that's the way I feel, but I'd like to take a look at it myself.
Yeah, I'll take a look at it, but in terms of the parks, I can't commit the park staff to submit it. I don't know what,
If we can get
ask them,
copies
but
to
when I brought
everyone,
it up
maybe you
before.
can come up with an idea and you can get hold of me or Pam and anyone else who might be interested.
Okay. And now I've got a question as I look at this. 5013C, is Prime Time a 5013C? Could they be the submitter?
At Prime Time, the Friends of Prime Time is a 501c3, but they're a separate entity.
Does Prime Time count as a City of East Lansing entity?
Prime Time is, but the 501c3 isn't.
Okay, but I'm
It's a
just saying,
separate
it
entity.
requires a government entity or a 501c3, and my government entity is the Parks Department, and I can't commit them. But I'm just saying. So, yeah. Okay, all right. Well, I can take a look at it.
Yeah, look, I'd appreciate it. Why don't you just send it to everyone and
It's in the.
if you don't want to look at it, that's
chat,
okay.
too. It's in the chat, so people click on it in the chat and they can save it too. So.
Jeff emailed it to us as well.
Okay. Is there anything else? I think I've already set the homework assignment and now we've got the grant thing. Is there any other business that people would like to introduce or discuss? Hearing none, I will take a motion to adjourn.
Thanks, Jim.
Okay, who?
Second.
Kathy Boyle moves to adjourn.
Support?
Support.
Okay,
Who was that?
okay.
I think Lori supported Kathy.
Thank
So
you.
did Jeff, I think.
All kinds of support.
Yes.
Hey.
Yeah, get out of another Zoom meeting.
Good to see everybody.
Yeah,
Yes.
Zoom is a word with, what do we call it? Zoo with an M on the end. Me. If I hear no objection, I'm going to declare the meeting adjourned and thank you all for participating and mark April 15th as your next meeting date.
Okay, thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.